A newly formed group of activist organizations is introducing itself to Sioux Falls with a call for public engagement.
It's an effort to get the city to adopt more sustainable practices and to help prepare the city for climate change in the future. Cooper Seamer joins us in the studio. He has the details. Cooper?
Yeah, Brian and Beth, local sustainability and conservation groups are banding together to form the Sioux Falls Sustainability Coalition, aiming to address the threat of climate change and its effects in Sioux Falls.
We all need to voice our concerns.
For local and statewide sustainability organizations, the time to band together has come. Groups like SODAC 350, Dakota Rural Action, Change Agents of South Dakota, and others are forming the Sioux Falls Sustainability Coalition to push for greener practices within the city. Former Sioux Falls Mayor and Change Agents SD founder Rick Noby says their organization isn't solely focused on climate, but they're looking to help out and help boost the message of others.
We don't have an environmental component per se, but our interest are those two things. That's why I'm standing up here. One of the reasons I'm standing up here.
With more people is more power, and we are actively trying to create a world that we are excited about, a South Dakota, a Sioux Falls that we're excited about.
The coalition is looking to create new conversations and pushes for sustainable action from an individual level all the way up to commitments from businesses and at the city of Sioux Falls.
Making personal decisions about what they can do to, quote, live more sustainably. We're hoping that that will turn into group family action, group action, business action, government action.
The coalition partially came together after the city of Sioux Falls made changes to its sustainability framework earlier this year that the organizations say cut back on any real action. And they're hoping by showing up in greater numbers, those goals and actions will be back on the table.
Climate change is still here, and so we as a community need to show up to show that we care.
Now, the coalition will be hosting a public conversation about the goals that the community has for the future of conservation. That'll be happening on December 2nd. More details about the meeting can be found on this story on dakotanewsnow.com and the Dakota News Now app. Brian and Beth.